I haven't got time this morning to do a full account of the science of climate change. I call this my Jeremy Clarkson slide for climate change. Jeremy Clarkson doesn't really get climate change, okay, but he gets knickers. So I've always hoped that were I on one occasion able to get Jeremy Clarkson into a room on his own and expose him to a little bit of science, I'd probably start with this slide to cheer him up. All you need to know about this is that the debate about science is over. Yes, the pages of the Daily Mail are full of completely idiotic people still saying the science hasn't been sorted out. Absolute rubbish. You just need to clear your mind of all of that completely mischievous confusion. You really do, because governments, which is what matters here, not NGOs or dissident scientists, governments have settled around this consensus. It's basically all you need to know about climate change. The bit that you need to look at is the 80% cut in emissions of CO2 by 2050. Confirmed in the report of the Committee on Climate Change from Adair Turner, when Lord Turner was just swapping over from his role as chair of the Climate Change Committee to chair of the FSA. Frying pans, fat fire, all the rest of it seemed to spring to mind. That's what he's told government. We got it by 2050, 80% cut in CO2. Now, why are scientists telling us this? Well, just this is a very simple linguistic version of what's been happening. In 1992, when all the governments signed up to the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, the language was, we must do everything we need to do to avoid dangerous climate change. In the intervening 15, 16 years, the language has gone from dangerous to irreversible. And in the IPCC's fourth assessment report, which came out at the end of last year, the language now is governments must do everything in their power to avoid the threat of abrupt and irreversible climate change. You do not want to know how scary irreversible is in this respect, but it is truly horrific to contemplate what would happen to human civilization if that happened. Okay, so let's move on now. Here's the deal. Scientists tell politicians. Politicians come up with lots of high-sounding phrases. Tony Blair, world leader in global climate change rhetoric, did sod all about it here in the UK. So we've got a real disconnect going on, a massive mismatch, with people now signing up to the theory, completely incapable of really making the practice work on the ground. This is massively important as far as the built environment is concerned. If we don't sort this issue out in terms of the built environment, we're not likely to come up with serious long-term solutions to climate change. You know all of this stuff. The built environment is massively important in terms of a driver of sustainability issues. We're beginning to understand the full extent of the contribution from the built environment, particularly from non-domestic buildings, to emissions of CO2 and other greenhouse gases. We're beginning to see the language change now, and as I'll come on and explain to you, some of the policies are also shifting. Smart companies in this sector see their current reality as trying to steer their way through these converging walls of a funnel, if you like. At the top, you can see all of the things that are beginning to happen. I'm going to come back to the bottom one there, cost of carbon, in a moment when I show you the BT case study about this. But if you're sitting there as a director of a commercial property now, you're looking at all of these non-negotiable realities. They're not going to go away just because they're inconvenient. They're not even going to go away just because of the economic recession, I'm sorry to say. Impinging on the room for maneuver for any company in this sector. So more and more attention is now being paid to designing one's way through that funnel effect to come out the other end in better shape than you would be otherwise.